There it is. Hello, everybody. Hello, Libby. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm really well. And for people joining us, I hope you're doing really well too. If you just came across this, my name is Linda Downey. This is my colleague and my friend and my co coach, Libby. And we thought that we would just want to grab your attention tonight. I mean, we're on here quite frequently, pretty regularly, talking about anything around health and wellness that we can think of to make a difference for you. But tonight, we thought it would really be a good idea to give you 15 minutes of space to sort of get your attention away from the election. I don't know about you. And if you're not in the US, you maybe don't feel the same pressure that we do here in the United States, but it's a lot going on around us. And today has been an intense day for a lot of people. So I thought, let's do this at this time of night because on the East Coast, pretty soon the polls will be closing. And let's just pull your attention away. And this applies to today, but it really applies to every day in this thing called life that we're living in because every day there's things around us that are chaotic, that could instill fear, that could go against what we want to have happen. So half the people out there want one thing to happen, half the people want the other thing to happen, and we're all in this place right now of what's going to happen. So finding a way to pull yourself out of that place of the chaos and the fear and pull yourself back into yourself so that you don't actually become part of that. I'm going to call it a fear frequency. And you become one of the places in the world that's actually anchored in peace and calm for yourself, first and foremost for yourself, but also for the people around you, for your family, right? Because we can all get caught up in the, oh no, what if? And it shouldn't be this way. And, you know, disaster is going to happen if it doesn't go the way that I want. And some people are really, really feeling that around this particular topic. And I'm sure there's,
Absolutely. Yeah. And
yeah,
it's probably going to happen even more as things go on because it's not just like the election happens and then everything goes back to normal, whatever that is. If we can believe the polls, about 50% of Americans are going to feel disappointed however this ends up tonight. Um, Unless my dog becomes president, then I don't know, then maybe everybody would be okay. Otherwise, we're gonna have about 50% of the population not happy with the result. And we're heading into the holiday season. There's a lot of strife. This has been a very contentious season and tumultuous time just in our nation. And so I love this topic because uh, the little tools, the little things we're going to talk about tonight are things that you can take with you forward into all these other seasons. So when you head into the workplace tomorrow and in coming weeks, when you're at holiday events with people who maybe you love that maybe you don't have the same political viewpoints as, and we can all
yeah.
love each other and be grown-ups and have different political views, by the way. Um, so just coming back to kind of a place of sanity, I loved this topic that Linda came up with, so I'm amped. Let's do this.
Yeah, yeah. And I also wanted to point out, like, which we kind of said, but it's not just about the election. That happens to be a timely, relevant issue today and right now in this season, as Libby said. But I can tell you in my life, and if nobody can relate to this, then I'm sorry. But in my life, I've had things that were really, really scary and stressful that were personal in my life. It wasn't necessarily a national thing going on, but it still felt as, um, what if and oh no, and it can't be this way. So this applies to any and all of that. We just wanted to pull you away from watching the polls for 15 minutes and hopefully reset you so that it makes a difference. So, Libby, when you're feeling that way, and I'm guessing you've had times in your life as well, personal times,
Yes.
right? Just a guess. What do you do, or what did you do, or what have you learned works for you? We're going to both share some things that I think will make a difference. So, what do you do when you need to ground yourself and get out of that fearful place?
Yeah, the first thing I really like to do is move into like just get away from the noise, whether it's physical, psychological, spiritual, just see if I can get into a quiet place for just a couple of minutes because A lot of times the noise will amp us up, right? So just getting quiet, getting out in nature is huge because that's naturally, it's calming. It's our environment. We're meant to be there. And so just going, looking at the sky, if it's nighttime, look at the stars. If it's daytime, looking at the clouds or moving, looking at the grass, touching the grass, just getting back into your body fully. Because I know, at least for me, I had a lot of pain. That was a big
Mhm.
one for me. I had a lot of struggle with other things too, but I had a lot of physiologic pain. And one of the things I found that I had like kind of developed as a coping mechanism without even meaning to was basically just getting out of my body. Like
Mm,
just like escaping my taking a mental vacation and not feeling things. And so especially if you're someone who's dealt with a lot of chronic pain or a lot of issues like that, we don't always stay grounded in our bodies. And I don't mean like I'm having an out of body experience. I just mean like I hit the ignore button on the physical world a lot because that was the only way I could cope with the levels of pain I was experiencing. And
yeah.
and so that's like a double-edged sword. It's super helpful at the moment, right, when you're going through the pain, but you also don't have the benefit of being in your body and being grounded and being part of this world we live in. So I always like to say deep breathing, 4-7-8 breathing, which is 4 in, hold for 7, release for 8. And then being out in nature is huge. And I also have a prayer I pray, but let me ask you back the same question. What do you do to get back to a
Yeah.
center or calm?
Yeah. Well, to just stack onto your getting back into the body, right? When we are focused and we're being fearful about what's happening out in the circumstances around us. So it's like, what's going to happen? What decisions are going to be made? How, what's going to happen to my money? What's going to happen? Pick anything. We're sending our energy out, and what we really want to do is pull our energy, like our life energy, back into us, which is, another version of what Libby's talking about. Get into your body, but yes, pull the energy back in. And when we can do that, and that can just be visualizing that, like get quiet or find a space where you can feel like you can ground yourself, and then just even in your mind's eye, use your own internal eyeballs and see your energy coming back into you so that you have access to it. Because when we give it out everywhere, we don't have access to it, and that really depletes us. So I think that that's important. I also want to just suggest a thinking thing, because this is so nationally on election day or in this season, it's just a big version of what can happen in our own household, right? In fact, last night on a coaching call, this kind of came up. One of my clients talking about she's in the middle of a divorce and like what's happening, but that's really like the polarity of a divorce or the polarity of an argument is just a smaller version of the polarity that we're seeing at a country level, as a nation. So what helps with that? Well, number one is you got to get out of fight or flight, because otherwise you're back here in your reptilian brain, and you're not problem solving from the front of your brain. You're not communicating well. When we're ready for that fight, we see things very skewed. So I think in this situation, this arena of the election, it would be really helpful to just recognize everybody is so passionate, because we do all care about the country. Obviously, people have different ideas about what would make it be better or what the country needs, but we're all a stand for, we want to live in a country that is great. That's why people are passionate. And back to the conversation with my client, both she and her husband care about the children. So when they're in a power struggle about custody or visitation or all that, they both equally care about the children. So it's helpful to remember, you know what, the person that I'm ready to fight with, we're actually both passionate about the same thing. So let me just take a decompress a little bit, exhale out some of that energy, at fight energy and just remember that we're all human beings living here. So I think that's helpful. Then go
Absolutely.
ahead.
I love that. I just want to like stack on that for a second. This one of the things I've hated about this election cycle is that so many people have been demonized and there has been
Mm,
so much division. And I just want to say this, every one of those people who's running, every one of those people who you're having arguments with, every one of those people on all these different sides of issues are people. They are people
yeah,
just like us. They deserve respect. They deserve love. They deserve compassion. And we don't have to all agree to still be loving and compassionate toward each other. And I think, however, this election ends, the only way forward for our nation is for us to start having some respect and kindness and compassion toward each other again. So I love
yeah,
that, Linda, taking a deep breath and going, oh, wait, they're a person too. Oh, wait,
yeah,
they love this country too. They just see the solution in a different way. And I love it. It's a macro of these little micro experiences we have within our homes, within our jobs, within our families.
exactly. Yep. So that can sort of set the tone to now, like, okay, so if I can at least get my brain there, like this isn't actually someone who, you know, whatever, is it so opposite from me? We actually have some things in common, even if the only thing in common is we care. We care. That's why we're passionate. Okay, great. So now how do I get myself out of fight or flight? So, Libby, you were going to share something that you do?
Yeah, yeah, I'd be happy to. So, what I like to do, I come from the Judeo Christian background. And so, there's a really great verse in the Bible that talks about putting on the full armor of God. And I love it because the Apostle Paul is actually looking. A lot of people think he was actually looking at a soldier who was guarding him while he was in prison while he was writing this. So, that was the inspiration for it. So, what I like to do, and if you guys want to just do this with me, I'll do it really quickly to show you how I do it. So
Okay.
it starts with the helmet of salvation. And what I love about that is every day, I just say, every day, God, renew my mind. And I actually put my hands there because it draws attention to that area. So I just close my eyes and say, God, renew my mind. Renew my mind. The next thing is the breastplate of righteousness. Righteousness is just being made right. And so I envision that I've got this thing covering everything vital about me. And it is not only something that protects me from things coming at me, but I even envision that there's like some salve coming in to heal my heart, to heal the parts of me that may be hurt. The belt of truth is the next thing, and that's at our waist. Interestingly, that was the only preparation the Roman soldiers needed to go into battle because they would use the belt to tuck their toga in. And so I imagine that the truth is the only preparation I need for any fight I have today. The truth is enough. The next one is feet fitted with the good news of peace. So I imagine putting shoes on. Sometimes I imagine putting waders on because it depends how crazy my day is going to be. But I love thinking about the fact that I get to walk in peace no matter where I am today. No matter if I'm going in the duck pond or if I'm walking through the desert or I'm walking wherever I am, my feet will always be in peace, walking in peace. And
Mm,
I just think that's so beautiful. The sword of the spirit is the only weapon, and that is the truth. God's, speaking as God's word, it's the truth. So the only thing we need to ever fight with is something that's already been spoken over us, truth. Then
mm.
shield of faith, and I imagine, because I'm a girly girl, I imagine like the pink bubble that like Glenda the Good Witch floated around in.
Okay.
You can imagine whatever kind of shield you want. I like it because I think that's pretty cool. And I think about the fact that this bubble will let anything good in: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self control, all those amazing things, they can come in all day. I'm not shielded from that. What I am
Mm.
shielded from is anything that could harm me because I have faith that God is taking care of me and that every experience I have is, I'm protected. And that's how I start every single day.
I love that. I never heard that before. And I really love how it actually takes a real armor, like the components of that, and you go through and each one has a meaning. So That's very cool. And what's great about this, people, if you're watching this or watching the replay, you could pause, write it down. Did you say that you got that from somewhere? Like, could somebody look that up or you created
Right
that?
in no, that's right in the Bible. It's, the Apostle Paul. I can find the exact verse, and I'll share it later with y'all, but yeah, it's called the armor of God, and it's right in the New Testament of the Bible. So,
Okay.
yep,
Awesome. Thank you.
I didn't come up with that verse, I just came up with the visualization that I
Right.
do, around it because I just really was meditating a lot on feeling like when my kids were really, really sick and I was their caregiver all the time. This was really when I meditated on this because it was right after I had gotten well. And I just felt like I was in a battle every single day and I was exhausted. And so knowing that before my feet hit the floor, I had already prepared myself and armed myself help me
Mm,
get through the day. And anytime I would feel like maybe I was under attack or something hard or bad was happening, I would just go back, close my eyes, and reimagine all that. Like if I started getting monkey mind, I'd go, okay, nope, it's helmet of salvation. My mind has been renewed. And I can always come back and renew it again, right? If I'm feeling afraid or like things are coming at me. No, I've got the shield of faith. Everything that's coming at me, I can handle. And so
yeah.
I visualize that at least, I don't know, 15 or 20 times a day. So I do it a lot. It just helps me to get back in. I'm a very visual person, I guess, and it just helps me get back in that state of peace and joy pretty quickly.
I love it. It's really great. And the visualization is good because it gives your thoughts something to focus on and to direct. And our thoughts direct our energy. So if you want to move out of the energy of fear and into the energy of peace, calm, love, compassion, acceptance, all of the things, protection, do, visualizing that will help your thoughts do that. And that's a very powerful tool. I want to share now something that I do, and in addition to what I shared before. And first of all, it's deciding to make the choice. So I can be in the fear that's around me. I can be in the fear and the blame and the finger pointing that's going on, and I can be part of that. Or I can choose to step out of that and say who I'm going to be is fearlessness and love. Fearlessness, no fear. I'm not going to participate in the fear of what if the other person gets elected? Or back in my private life, what if my daughter doesn't make it through this surgery? What if we don't have the money for her therapy? All the things that could put me into fear back then. So, whatever it is in your life, today it's this, but what's going on in your life? Um, you can be in the fear of that, or you can say, I'm going to stand over here separate. So you can't see my hands. There they are. So the fear, or I'm going to separate myself, and who I'm going to be is fearlessness and love. That's the stand. Now, what I do with that also has to do with visualization, which I put my hands on my heart because the heart center is where we are grounded spiritually, right? That's our spiritual home base is in our heart. Love is what our spiritual nature recognizes. The fear is human. The love is the spiritual aspect of us coming from our creator, right? We were made from love. That is who we are. The fear is an illusion. So if I can get my hands and my thoughts to my heart center, and I use the color green because the heart center is in our chakra system. Green is the color. Also, when my daughter was in the hospital and I had some people do some energy work on her and on me, green was the color for healing as well. So I just go to green a lot. So I start to picture a green glow, and who I am is fearlessness and love. So I'm going to allow my heart center, my green glow, to expand. I'm going to allow that in my mind's eye to expand out from the center of me and out into the world, because I don't want to be part of the chaos. I want to be one of the places in the world where peace and calm and fearlessness and love reside, where when people come into contact with me, they get a sense of that, because for decades they got a sense of something else. I can tell you, I worked hard on this. So I want to be one of those anchors when the other stuff is going on. So I start to imagine that I am expanding out into the world. I'm not sending my energy out willy-nilly in fear. No, I am controlling it from the heart, from the center of my heart, and expanding with the intention of connecting with people in love and fearlessness. That's the intention. So it's very purposeful to make a difference and be a stand regardless of what's going on.
I love
That's what I
that.
do.
I love that. And like there's a scripture verse that says perfect love casts out all fear. So it goes right
Mhm.
along with what you're saying. Like fear and love cannot abide in the
They
same location. So
they
you
cannot.
get to pick which one is hanging out in your heart.
Right. And, people will say, but what if the other person gets elected and then this is going to happen in our country? Well, first of all, we don't know what's going to happen no matter who gets elected. We have no idea what's going to happen. So all of that is made up. And second of all, if that is operating at this level, I just want to operate above it. I want to go, okay, what I wanted to have happen didn't, but let's see now what unfolds. Let's see what I can actually embrace and get my arms around, even though I didn't want this outcome. What
Yeah.
can I get from
And we can be peaceful in a variety of circumstances. And if it didn't go the way you wanted, well, does that mean you can't operate anymore? Our country
right?
has operated for generation upon generation with sometimes suboptimal leadership. And the great news is our country is made up of Americans, not a single figurehead who is decreeing everything. We're not a democracy. We're a republic, and we're founded on principles that will remain and go on regardless of who is sitting in the executive office in January. And the great thing is, maybe this is our opportunity, regardless of how all this ends up, whether your person gets in or doesn't. Maybe it's your opportunity to broadcast, like Linda was saying, that love,
Mm,
to begin changing and shifting so that the next time we have an election, our country is in a different spot and we're not in this divisive 50-50 area. We're in a place where we're unified and we're powerful and strong. And so, regardless of who wins tonight, I think that's where the real work will begin for us as a nation.
yeah. I saw a great clip today. It was John McCain giving a speech when Obama got elected, and he was giving a speech in front of Republicans. And as soon as he mentioned Obama, people started booing. And it was such a great speech because he just kept talking above the level. And he said, what's great about this country is that anyone with a vision and a passion can make their dreams come true. And he went on to say, other things about Obama, but he's like, that's what he did. And I can only respect him in my head. And he had just lost to him, right? McCain had just lost. I can't remember at what point he gave. Well, I guess he was giving the speech after the morning after the election to acknowledge it. But it really is to what you were speaking to, Libby, is that we can be, regardless of what happens, we can look at who we are. And the last thing I'll just say is, if you've never seen the movie Beautiful Life. It's a Beautiful Life, I think it's called. It's about the Holocaust, right? Where the father
Mm.
and the son are in a concentration camp, and the son is a little boy, and the dad is making the world that they're in, which was a Nazi concentration camp, be a beautiful place, and keeping his son out of fear, regardless of every day they were watching people be taken away and be killed. But he created their experience regardless of where they were in. So we're really speaking to that.
Yes, exactly. We don't get to choose all the things in the world, but we do get to choose our little world. And that's a blessing that we have because of where we live. And so let's start thinking about how, in our little corner of the world, we can really begin the work. And I'm going to say one last thing here. If you, our listener, our watcher tonight, struggle with fear, anxiety, doubt, wondering how you're going to make it through a variety of circumstances, not just the election, and you need some help, we would love to help you. I'd ask Linda if you'd put a link in the comments here. Um, We have a free session you can do with Linda or myself where we sit down and we chat with you about what's working in your life, what's not working in your life, and how you might like to see a different future. So, if that's something you'd be interested in talking about and seeing how you might work with us, we would absolutely be honored to meet up with you because our goal is to help make this world a better place in every corner that we possibly can.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Libby, for remembering that. And I just grabbed the link right now and I just put it on so people can have that. So listen, go to sleep tonight, peaceful, no matter what's happening, that you can handle and be in peace regardless of what shows up tomorrow.
Yep,
Okay?
and you're not just gonna be in peace, you're gonna be amazing overcomers, and we are building a brand new world, and the work starts now. So that's the beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
there you go. All right, everybody. Thank you for
All right,
watching.
thank
We'll go back
you.
to comments. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.